So there's lots of parts of Australia that are world famous. You've got the Alps down the bottom, the snowy mountains, you've got the Great Barrier Reef, you've got the Great Sandy Desert, you've got the Strzelecki Desert, all very well known parts, but one little known part is a huge part of my life, and that is the Brigalow Belt. I was born right in the middle of it, and this is it. These are endemic species of trees here. This is virgin type country. You can see this guy here, this is your Brigalow. They've got a very bluey, smoky, grey leaf. Now they're a very unusual tree in the fact that they take nitrogen from the atmosphere and put it down into the soil, very similar to legumes, and they put it out through nodes, and that actually makes this country one of the most high protein producing parts of the world, which means that that made us very popular with great blokes like Saddam Hussein, who really wanted our wheat because of its high protein. And what this tree indicates is that you've got good quality high nitrogen soils, which of course gives you the high protein in your crops. That's whenever I'm looking at different countries throughout wherever I go, I don't have to worry about the soil because you can always tell exactly what's underground just by looking at the tree species. These guys here, of course, mean good fertility. There's another tree over here which is kind of a parasitic tree. It's the wilga. This is it here. So he grows underneath other trees, and he tells you how soft the soil is. So he's saying that this is a really good soft country. These guys saying it's fertile, and then you've got the ballars here, the really big tall ones with the fine bark. They've got leaves that are like little tiny pieces of wire, and they tell you how deep the soil is. And the size of these guys here, 10 to 13 metres, suggests that it's really good quality, deep soil. Another tree that you might notice is something that's probably not so native, but he's definitely inserted himself into Australia, and that's the prickly pear up here. Introduced in stations like my own back in the 1800s as a crop to keep people that shouldn't be in the vegetable yard out of the vegetable yard, and then of course they just kept going themselves, and now are pretty much so part of the whole Brigalow Belt, and they're making a big comeback. Another phenomenon of this part of the country is melon holes. Now, this is grade cracking clays. That means that whenever moisture is in it, it expands, and then whenever moisture is out of it, it contracts, therefore forming big cracks. Now, if you have this going over thousands of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years, you end up with these big guys here, which is where the moisture settles, and if it stays there, it keeps expanding and then builds a hole, and then of course mounds next to it. So you can see these massive big holes here. Some of them get down to 10 metres deep, and they stay full of water right through, even like right now with the droughts. You've got these huge big drives here, filled with a bit of water. They have whole little ecosystems inside them. Lilies, overland turtles, some of them even have fish. But it's pretty awesome, and this is what I call home, and hopefully that educates you a little bit about the wonders of the Brigalow Belt.